Dinner for shoes, please.
Hi, and welcome to an episode of Dinner for Shoes, all about Botox. Not really all about Botox. It's a shoe therapy episode where I'm talking about aging and how I'm dealing with it. And I'm in a place where I'm like actually very confused. So maybe I'm also seeking advice. And I just want this to be a really raw and honest conversation. Um, Moving forward, I have decided that for Dinner for Shoes episodes, most Dinner for Shoes episodes, I will not be making a script and taking notes. And if I need to search for something or clarify something, I may just pull up my phone and clarify it in real time because I feel like I am most excited for the episodes where I am talking about myself and I feel passionate. I guess that's a better way to phrase it. When I feel passionate about the topic. And Nick and I were talking last night and we were talking about my current, I don't know if I should get Botox or if I shouldn't. And I was like, you know what? I want to record an episode about this. Like, I feel like I could talk about this for a while. And he was like, why don't you just like set up the camera and talk? So that's what I'm going to do. And I really didn't prepare any notes. Like, I know how I feel about it and I'm just going to sit here and talk about it. As always, my outfit does have subtle references to the topic at hand. So let's go into that. You'll see that, hello, the guys are here. It's Christmas time. The lights are on the tree. Don't even get me started with the tree. Nick made me buy 42 million strands of lights. I literally think our apartment is going to light on fire. So I set up the guys next to the Dinner for Shoes sign. They're all here. Half of them, most of them don't work because the batteries have died. And my dad would be sad to know that I have not replaced the batteries in them. I also told Nick not to waste money on new Christmas decorations, but we have these trees. So they're on set and that's that. I have a mocktail. Is it a mocktail if it has a little bit of weed in it? It has a little bit of my Enjoy Hemp, not a full serving, but it's like watermelon flavored, and I still have leftover watermelon Red Bull. Thank you, Red Bull. Subtle shout out. They just send me so much Red Bull. So I have some sugar free watermelon Red Bull in there and a little bit of my weed. Okay. Let's dive into the outfit behind the shoes so I can tell you how this outfit kind of relates to the topic. And then I'm just gonna like free for all. We'll just go. Okay, so first of all, these are Salvatore Ferragamo pumps that I have had for a long time and I have worn very sparsely. I would say that I've worn them. I mean, they're a classic pump, right? Like you can't get more classic than that. And I wore them maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. I think I've probably worn them in one episode before, but they are a winter shoe for me. I don't find that like a leather pump does super well for me in the summer, so I keep them in storage and I bring them out in the winter. And that's these. I think they're very comfortable. I always recommend Ferragamo for anyone who has a slightly like wider foot or more like runner's feet, basically, which is what I have. I am wearing this beautiful Zara dress. It is so bohemian and beautiful to me. To me, this dress doesn't need much accessorizing because it speaks for itself. All the details are stunning. I really like the way that it shows off my tattoo here. You can just like, there's a bra in it, so you just feel super comfortable and movable. Like, I am not worried that anything is gonna pop out. I really love that. I tried it without tights with boots and I didn't love that look. So we're just gonna go with the pump today. Now, my tights, they are actually black, but they're opaque. So combined with my skin tone, they almost have like a brown tinge. And this is definitely like a brown shaded dress. I forget if I said that it's from Zara, but it's from Zara. And these tights actually underneath the dress, which you cannot see, hence my subtle reference to the topic at hand about aging and Botox. They say hotter than hell. They're Saint Sass tights. I really love them. I'm wearing my engagement ring. I'm wearing old bobble bar tortoise earrings. They're shaped like a flower, so they go with the boho vibe, and this tortoise bangle from Zara. And that's it. And I liked the mix of old and new here, first of all, because we're talking about aging, we're talking about getting older, we're talking about things that I have always liked, which my face, I've always liked my face because it defines me. I've always liked my facial expressions more specifically because I feel like they really make me who I am and they make me feel beautiful because if I didn't have facial expressions, then I wouldn't be able to express my emotion. And expressing emotion is very important important to me. I feel like that speaks to like who I am inside and out, okay? So I wanted to kind of like show that I still have treasured pieces like these earrings, like these pumps that have always remained like classics in my wardrobe, and I've always thought of them as beautiful. I wanted to wear the tights that say hotter than hell underneath this gorgeous dress that speaks for itself to show that inside I feel hot, but on the outside I almost feel like I need a dress like this, something that is like, whoa, that's a cool dress, to make me feel beautiful these days, because when I look in the mirror, I see the two lines on my forehead. Now, I am aging. I'm 33 years old. So I have lines, like, what are these called? Crow's feet, crow's feet. I wish I had little paws, not crow's feet, but I have crow's feet on my eyes, and I have like other like discoloration a little bit here and there, like little pigment color things, but like, and I had a mole removed recently that comes with aging. It grew with age. I have a new skin tag on my eyelid, but for some reason, those things don't really bother me that much, even though I know you can see the lines when I'm like not making an expression by my eyes. But these two lines in my forehead, which are expression lines, they're not even wrinkles, they're just lines. They're bothering me. And this has been now like close to 4 or 5 months. I've talked to some of my close friends about it. Of course, Nick knows, Nick's mom knows, my family knows, because as you guys know, when I'm feeling something a certain way about something, I don't shut the fuck up about it. So my OCD has been getting to me about it. And you know what? I've scheduled Botox. I've scheduled it. I haven't gone through with it yet, but first, my good friend Dion, who came on actually for a beauty episode that we did with her, she did microneedling, liquid microneedling on me, and gave me a beautiful facial. And the liquid microneedling is a Korean skincare treatment that is supposed to make your fine lines and wrinkles a little bit more minimal. It's supposed to make your skin feel great. It boosts collagen production, and I felt that after I did it. But I know for a fact that the only way to really get rid of those lines is Botox. I talked to a dermatologist about it. I actually currently have it scheduled. I had it scheduled for, maybe that's the reason why I'm recording this episode today. I had it scheduled for today, but I pushed it back. I pushed it back because I talked to my mom about it. I talked to Nick about it. Nick, who is my partner, of course, my body, my choice. What I do to my face is my choice, but he does not want me to get Botox. He feels like he loves me just the way that I am, which of course I appreciate, and he can't imagine me not being able to make certain facial expressions. Now, I really don't want to minimize movement in my eyebrows. If I were to get baby Botox or whatever it is, Botox is Botox, but if I were to get it, I would want it just at, in the top, just to minimize movement in the top of my head so that these two lines go away. That is it. I wouldn't want it anywhere else on my face. And there are so many arguments there. Some people are like, oh, well, once you get it, then you're going to be like, wow, this shit works. And you're going to love the effects. And you're going to be like, well, now I want it here. And now I want it all over my face. And I see that, and I can see myself going down that road. Like, I want to be real. Like, I could see myself being like, wow, I love how smooth my skin looks. Like, I want to do that everywhere. But I am on Nick's side and on my family, my mom's side, where I really don't want to minimize my facial expression ability. I really do feel beautiful the way that I am. So I'm really torn. Part of me wants to go through with Botox, see if I like it. Maybe my wrinkles won't be, or my lines won't be as prominent on my wedding day. And the appeal of that is so alluring to me when I look in the mirror. And I think a lot of the reason why is because of social media and what we see. When I started to notice my lines, I decided to go back and look at pictures of myself from like 2019. When I was like even in my earlier 20s, I looked and I was like, did I have these lines then? Guess what? I did. I did, and it didn't bother me. I never noticed them. So why am I noticing them now? Well, it has to be because most of the people around me are getting Botox, and because all of the actresses I see have it. you see older women come on the screens, our movie screens, and they're aged. Of course, we can tell that they're older. They look older. Their facial features are older, but their foreheads are fucking smooth. And I'm just like, I want that. Like, I want Botox so bad. I appreciate it and admire it on other women so much, where I almost have this tinge of jealousy when I see how smooth their foreheads are. But then I think about actually applying that to myself and who I am, and it freaks me out. Take a sip. See, I have to talk myself into doing things and take a sip. Okay. Now, one of the things that I think I should address too is another aspect of getting Botox that really freaks me out, which I think is important to consider because not everyone has this issue. So you guys all know that I have anxiety. I think even just like listening to 5 seconds of me talk, you know I have anxiety, but I have anxiety. I'm on Prozac, and years ago, I think it was like 2018, maybe around that time, my anxiety was at its worst, and it was before I went on Prozac. And I do think this has to do with what I'm about to tell you, but I developed idiopathic neuropathy. The first thing that happened is I was sleeping in the middle of the night, and I woke up and my entire arm was numb. I was weak in these 3 fingers, and basically my entire arm felt like pins and needles, almost is the best way I could describe it. But even less than pins and needles, like when your arm is asleep, where you kind of feel the tingle and you almost feel it coming back, it felt numb, like nothing. Like I would scratch and I wouldn't feel anything. It just felt like my arm wasn't working. That's the best way I could describe it. At first, we were really scared because I woke up in the middle of the night and it wasn't going away. And it was like an hour of me sitting there with my dad. I was still living at home at the time because I was younger. And we were like, these are like the fingers associated with a heart attack. Like, should we go to the emergency room? We didn't know what was going on because it was clearly more than just my arm being asleep after we tried everything. We went to the doctor. They actually said, we don't know what's going on, and they referred me to a neurologist. Well, that started my journey with idiopathic neuropathy. I 2 or 3 more times developed neuropathy. That time, my ulnar nerve had gotten caught in my elbow. They didn't really know why. They thought maybe I slept on it and it was a fluke thing. I didn't really have function in my hand, and it took over 6 months for the feeling to come back. It eventually did, and I was very lucky because they were considering operating on me. And when I went to an ortho, they were considering that. And basically, from then, throughout the next 2-ish years, my anxiety definitely was getting worse, and I had gone on Prozac. I moved into an apartment during this time with my partner at the time, who was abusive, and I was very anxious about that. I remember being really anxious just moving in with him. And funnily enough, when this happened to me, it was like right after we had decided we were moving in together. So I don't know if this had to do with it, but I was definitely at a point where I needed to increase my Prozac to be okay and to stop having panic attacks. So all this was going on. I went numb in my feet. It was only my peripherals. I went numb in like on the top of my foot, and then I went numb again on my right hand. And it was lasting for months at a time, where the other 2 or 3 times it happened, I had more function than when it happened this first time, but I was still completely numb for a long time. I also have Raynaud's syndrome, which just means that like your blood flow doesn't work very well, essentially. And I thought maybe like those 2 things went hand in hand. Well, I went to a rheumatologist, a blood doctor. They said no. And the neurologist also said one thing doesn't have to do with the other. So no one knew why I was going numb. And I had so many nerve tests. EMGs are what they're called, and they're extremely painful. They shock your nerves, and it shows that your nerves are unresponsive. And my nerves were unresponsive. So it was a very scary time for me and my family. And I was working with a neurologist at Rutgers who eventually said, try to get to a point in your Prozac, a standard point in your Prozac where you actually feel better, and you're not having panic attacks anymore. And once you're there, come back and let's like reanalyze this. And they also had me go off birth control. Once those 2 things were shifted and I was at a place where I was just on 40 milligrams of Prozac, which is like the recommended dose, and I had gone off the birth control and my anxiety was better, the neuropathy went away. So don't know if the neuropathy had to do with my anxiety or not, but because I was anxious at the time that it was happening, the idea of not being able to feel parts of my body go hand in hand with anxiety for me now. If I'm about to have a panic attack, I will start to feel like I'm going numb in different areas of my body. It's just that's what it is for me. So the idea of getting Botox and not being able to move, I know I'll still be able to feel my face, but not being able to move. My best friend Isabel was like, "This is what it feels like," and she like literally like goes like this, and like I'm like, okay, like I can imagine that. That freaks me out though. Like I won't be able to move my face. So that is part of it too. And I look all the time at like different actresses that I've heard have had Botox or have had work done. And I'm like, would I like that look for me? Is Botox my type of beauty? And I just don't know. I don't know. I know that I like it for them, but I can't decide if it's right for me. And I envision, this is my biggest fear about it. I envision myself going through with it and liking the results, because everyone who knows that I'm considering it says, "Oh my God, you're going to love the results. Oh my God, you're going to love the results." And then of course, as we all know, Botox fades and you can make facial expressions again in 3 to 4 months. And then I will want it again and I will continue to get it. And even if I only get it in my forehead, I envision my eyebrows drooping somehow or just changing the way that I look. And I really don't want that. I don't want that because I think it's important to treasure the way you are in a sense. Not that like I think that it's bad for anyone else to do it or to change the way that they are. I think everyone's own prerogative. But I just feel like if I start going down this road, I will regret it. And that's what Nick keeps saying to me. And that's what the internet keeps telling me isn't true at the same time. It's hard to escape the notion that Botox is what you should do when you age. As a 33 going on 34-year-old woman, my feed tells me I should do it. All the smooth foreheads on my feed tell me I should do it. And something in me doesn't say, I know this is right for me. So that's where I'm at. Let me know if you have any advice, if you want to talk about whether or not you've gotten it. I don't know if I'm going to get it. It's the same way when I did the Shoe Therapy episode on alcohol and I told you where I'm at in my journey. I said, I don't know if I'm ever going to stop drinking alcohol. I'm still on that journey. So I just want to be honest about that, in the hopes that maybe there's someone else out there that's feeling this way too, hasn't actually gone ahead and gotten Botox, and maybe they've come to a conclusion that they can share with me. But that is what I'm feeling. So yeah, Trish knows about it. She's heard about it for the past 6 months. Her and Nick, they're like fucking like, I can't stand this woman anymore. And yeah, Botox, is it my kind of beauty? I don't know. Let me know. See you next time. Bye.